Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan. Here we're looking at a Mitsubishi Delica Space Gear Chamonix Edition. This one here has 87,000 kilometers on it. The turbo diesel 2.8 liter engine, 4-wheel drive, slightly lifted suspension over factory, and overall very good condition on this one. So this is a post-purchase inspection video. The vehicle's not for sale. We're just checking the condition before we send it over to, where's this one going? Tacoma. These vans are pretty popular in the Pacific Northwest. We send a lot of them, actually all over the USA, but particularly up there. They have a little bit of a hipster charm to them, don't they? So 87,000 kilometers, we'll just switch off the engine for the rest. I will say the interior is gorgeously clean. I'll get back to that in a sec. But before we do that, just a quick note about the engine. These 2.8 liter turbo diesels are generally, I think, well suited for the weight of the vehicle. They're very reliable. This one here being the cold weather package has dual battery in it, so easier to start in colder climates. And then it has a set of aftermarket intercooler piping, which I guess makes it look a little bit cuter. The original ones are rubber hoses with like a nylon mesh over top of them, and they can actually move and expand. And so you do get a little bit better performance from the turbo, a better like throttle tip in. I know it's a diesel. I know there's no actual physical throttle on these engines, but a little bit more accelerator tip in with that. That's at least what I found. We'll close up the hood here. This one comes in the really nice black and gold two-tone, which isn't a very common color scheme, or black and silver, I don't know. Sometimes the silver kind of turns a little bit goldish, like champagne goldish over time. Okay, and let's go ahead and translate the auction inspection sheet. This will just take a few seconds. It's a 1997 Space Gear Chamonix edition. If you don't know, the Chamonix is a trim model where you get different carpets, different trim on it. It's meant to be kind of the sold to the outdoorsman, like skier or hiker type of person. Not like the Delica isn't supposed to be sold to those people anyway, but the Chamonix is like, you know, it's a ski hill. It's named after a ski hill in France. This one, anyway, auction grade 4, interior B, 87,507 kilometers with power steering, power windows, and airbag. The sales points from the seller say purchase from user and aftermarket 15-inch wheels. The wheels are in excellent condition. Unfortunately, the tires come from 2021, so you're going to need to change those. No notes from the seller, and this is an 8-seater, and so it doesn't have the bucket seats. It has the 3 seats in the center row, and so this gives you the extra 1 seat. And this one's better if you're going to be sleeping in it, because you can move the seats into a sleepable platform. The report here says winter tires, interior slightly dirty, underside has 1 part surface rust and corrosion, and various shallow scratches. We have A3 here on the roof, and then a U3 here on the back. So I'll get to those in a second. I just want to do a little extra corrosion look here. So this one has the like an underguard piece here and a bar. This section here, you can see a little bit of like just how the suspension starts to look when it's been exposed to a little bit of cold temperatures. Underneath here, got a little bit of corrosion on these side steps, and a little bit on the under armor for the fuel tank. The vehicle has been painted on the underside with a wrinkle paint. So far, nothing that I've seen has been very extreme. A little bit there on the tow hook. Now, this is just a preliminary searching out of things. Once you get the car, take a look, grind any of the rust down that you see, and then repaint it. You should be good for a good long time. A little bit of surface stuff here on the sill. There also is on the other side. I got a picture of that. About the same amount. Under here, everything's looking pretty good. I would say that it said 1 part corrosion, which kind of means minor corrosion. So I don't think it's anything you would really need to worry about. Delicas are a little bit prone to rusting, so it is a bit of a risk if you go for one that already says that. So do keep that in mind. All that information is available to you before you bid on the vehicles. Okay, a tour around it now. So I believe suspension's been lifted up ever so slightly. I've shot a lot of these. It feels bigger than they usually are. That could be chalked up to tires that are a little bit bigger. but I feel like it's been lifted just slightly. And gotta say, the Chamonix badge that you get here at the back, so it has some cool English on there, but first off, this is a reflective badge. And so just like a reflector on the car, like, you know, these back ones, when lights shine on it, it lights up. It's very cool. And it says Mitsubishi Delica Space Gear Super Select 4-wheel drive with maximum performance, specially designed for all outdoor players. And so, yeah, skier or snowboarder, you can have a Delica. It's going to be awesome. Anyways, follow around. Has an aftermarket rear ladder on it. I'm not sure if you noticed, but some aftermarket mud flaps. Pretty cool. Mitsubishi has like a rally history, and so Delica's, it only makes sense that their minivan is more like a rally car than it is a minivan. Sure, you can fit tons of people in it, but it can also go off-roading and has good approach and departure angles. Like front end, you can climb up a lot there. And they're actually pretty good four-wheel drive. They're not, so like a lot of modern cars, like that one, they say they're four-wheel drive, but they're not really four-wheel drive. They don't actually do very good off-road. Sure, it's okay in like a little bit muddy or snowy conditions, but if you actually want to do some climbing, a lot of vehicles just aren't capable of doing that, even if they are four-wheel drive. These Delicas, I think, are pretty good. I believe that they run like a limited slip differential in the front, and they got a decent amount of weight. They're not too long of a wheelbase, and I don't know what it is, but I know they have a locking center differential. But yeah, we have a bit of like an incline here. I know it doesn't look like it on the camera, but a lot of cars can't go up there. Some four-wheel drives have trouble getting up there, like a four-wheel drive Alphard won't be able to make it up there. Delicas, no problem. The windows are a reflective tint on there. Let's look at some of the issues now that we've gone around it and some of the features. So we have a parking pole here. The purpose of a parking pole is to give you a visual representation of where the corner of your vehicle is. So if you're driving and you're doing a tight turn and you don't know if you'll make it past that tree when you're skiing because you're an outdoor player, now you can see the pole and it will clearly show you where your corner is. This one has the double fog lights. You can only turn one of them on at a time, but you can have either white or yellow, which is pretty cool. They also have a really nice guard on them and say Chamonix on the guard. I'm not sure exactly how much extra you pay for the Chamonix, but it's probably a few $1,000s. Missing the X on Chamonix. If you don't have this version of it, it'll just say Mitsubishi across here instead of Chamonix. And then there's a Jasper version that will say Jasper on there. They were all in it for the names of ski hills, weren't they? So that's ducting for the intercooler. Very cool. Gives the car a nice beefy look. Side panels are in excellent condition. All the way down here, I couldn't find any errors on them. Really no scratches or anything. It's just looking great all the way down. The back section here, all very good. The dent on the back, the U3, is underneath the ladder, right where the ladder mounts. So it looks like a car bumped the ladder or they backed into something and hit the ladder. We got a dent on that right here, and it pushed in the back there. It's not too bad. I didn't notice it at first because the ladder takes up the visual space of where that dent is, which is good. And then if you climb up here, you're going to see the A3 on the roof. They're quite big. It looks like they tried to get into a parking area that was too short for them, and they kept going. The scratches are 160 centimeters long or so. None of it looks like it's going down to the metal, but as I mentioned in the other video, you're going to have to be really careful about scratches on the roof because Delicas already are prone to rusting on the roof, and you don't want it to rust any further. This one here for sure is going to need to have a little bit of a repair. You get a handy-dandy little, not camera, mirror here. This helps you to see your back bumper when you're parallel parking, and I adore those mirrors. It's so easy to move cars around either in our lot or at the port when they have those mirrors on them. Coming down this side again, all excellent looking. It'll look much better once it's actually clean, but I find Mitsubishi's black paint to be a little bit thin, and so it wears away quickly. This one actually looks like it hasn't succumbed to the the fading paint that many of them do. So it's going to look good once it's cleaned up and once you get like a diamond coat on it or something like that. This is a later model, so you get the skinnier headlights. There's actually 3 models, but the final one was only for a year and very few of them were sold, so they're very rare. This is, I guess you would consider it a mid model, but all things considered, it's more like the late model one. And then the mechanical fuel pump was changed over to an electric one, so you get a little bit more power in these ones. Mirrors, faded chrome electroplating. And so I guess you could redo those or just repaint them yourself. Into the back now. Back gasket has eaten it a bit. Basically all the way around. I'm going to have to reseal that. Nothing's going to leak. And they don't have any gaskets along here. So, yeah, no problem. The earlier ones did. Okay. So the third row here, you can flip up to the sides if you want to have more room. Otherwise, you can fold these down completely flat, and you can fold the middle row down completely flat, including the little pop-up seat. And this becomes a sleepable platform that's suitable for most adults, which is very cool. Floor carpet. This pattern is meant to hide dirt more than the usual ones, more than the regular Delica, hence why the kind of vivid look to it. And same thing with the seats. The seats have a very 90s blue, purple, and teal kind of splatter look. I like it. It's cool. Into the center section now. So sliding door is just on one side, and you've got an auto step, which when you open the door, it'll come out. And this is, despite the rust on the arms, this is sturdy. It's not going to break. And then the interior here, all very clean. This is oddly clean for a vehicle that comes from auction. Usually you're going to have to clean it yourself, but this looks excellent. So back seats there with tons and tons of leg room for the people in the back seat and the people in the middle row. And then this seat here, I believe you can rotate this. Let me just have a quick peek. Yes, it does rotate. So you can face this backwards if you want. And then this seat here pops out. It's fairly easy to do, but you need 2 hands. And there you go. Now there's your 8 seats. And this one has a seat belt here. It's a 3-point. Hijet's coming to run me over. Not today, Hijet. That guy bowed at me twice. Okay. Cool looking seats. If you're into that 90s thing. Headliner. Immaculately clean and no smoking inside this, which is a huge benefit. Delicas tend to be a highly smoked in vehicle. When you get one that's clean inside and not smoked in, you are ahead of the game. Now into the driver's area, cockpit. You actually can get another door on this side, but I've only seen 2 out of the several thousands that we've dealt with. Like several thousand, I mean ones that we've translated or looked at for customers. Of course, we've only bought a few hundred of them. Actually, they are one of our more popular exports. We've sent a ton of these to Canada before they were US legal, and then now a ton of them to the US. And yeah, the one with the dual sliding doors, I've only seen it on the 2-wheel drive version, not the 4-wheel drive version, so it's not something that you can really be on the lookout for. This is the last of the era of sliding doors on one side only. After about 2005 or so, pretty much everything was dual sliding door. Okay, so looks like they have their own carpets that have been put on top of the original ones. Like this one here is original, and then they put an extra carpet on top to keep it in extra good condition. Floor mats here from the regular Delica, not from the Chamonix. I don't know if they actually have. I think they have a different floor mat, but it could be these are the OEM ones. And a little bit of a tear in the heel pad. Seats great, no damage to them at all. Steering wheel, same thing. See, it has under 100,000 kilometers on it, which, you know, like 60,000 miles is 100,000 kilometers. So this is, what, like 50,000 miles on a car that's 25 years old and known to be reliable at that. Center stack here has the AC controls. This one doesn't have climate control, but the AC works perfectly well. Has an aftermarket stereo unit there. And you get cup holders that, unfortunately, these are prone to breaking, so do be gentle with them. Actually, this is prone to breaking on some of them as well. There are a few different materials that you can get for that surround. I think this one here is one of the sturdier ones, though. This is called a field gauge. You can see your pitch and your roll using this one. This one shows you the inside and outside temperatures, and then your battery voltage. Secondary airbag there, which I think in this era was required. Japan was a little bit late to the game for that. Never been smoked in, missing the cigarette lighter. And then extra hookups if you need that. And a pass-through here to get into the back, which is pretty nice if you've got a family. Sometimes you just need to get into the back for something, and being able to do that is good. It's missing the side step here that they usually have, so it's a little bit of a step to get up into the car, but it's not too bad. A little bit of tape on here for some reason. It doesn't feel like there's any rust underneath. And let's just check here. Yeah, the underneath here is looking fine. I would be a little bit worried because if the step came off, sometimes those steps rust off, or rust enough that they can't be stood on anymore, and so they just take it all the way off. But it doesn't look like that's the case here. Okay, this power folding mirror doesn't fold. You press the button, the one on that side folds in, and the one on this side will fold in, but it can't fold itself out for some reason. So probably a broken gear inside. Okay, so I think we shot all of this that we can. Hope you enjoyed this video of the Delica Chamonix. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.